There are 3 glass jars on a windowsill in an Amish kitchen. The morning light comes straight through them. The first jar holds the bills for the whole month. The second holds $60, set aside for the day the roof leaks. The third holds $11, saved for something the family does not even own yet. That is the entire system. No bank, no account, no password to forget. That family has never paid a single fee to hold their own money. They never will. And the big bank down the road does not even know they are alive. Now hear me plainly. Your money does not rest in a bank. The moment it leaves your fingers, a man in a glass tower puts it to work. He lends it out. He earns on it. He pays you a few pennies in thanks. You believe the account is yours. It is his. And he is counting on you never asking where your money sleeps at night. My name is Amos. I am Amish. I have never owned a bank account in my life. Not one. Not ever. Every dollar I have earned in 60 years has passed through my own 2 hands and into jars I can see. I have watched men with fat accounts lie awake, afraid. I have slept easy with 3 plain jars. So I am going to show you exactly how this works and why it never fails. So let us begin with the one thing that holds the whole system up. It is not the jars. It is what the jars do to your mind. Money you can see, you treat with care. Money you cannot see, you spend without ever feeling it leave. Remember that. We will come back to it. You need 3 jars, glass jars, so you can watch them fill, or 3 envelopes, or 3 coffee cans, whatever sits in your drawer. What matters is that there are 3, that they stay separate, and that each one has a single job. The first jar is the living jar. This jar keeps you alive, rent or the house payment, food, power, water, the fuel to get to work. Nothing in this jar is a want. Every dollar in it is a need. When your money comes in, this jar gets filled first, before anything else. Before you spend a single cent on a thing you merely desire. You fill it to the line you set, and not a dollar more. Say your needs come to $1,300 a month. Then $1,300 goes into the living jar, and the rest moves on. This jar is the floor under your feet. You build it first, every single time. The second jar is the storm jar. This is the jar the bank fears most. The roof will leak. The truck will die in February. A tooth will crack on a Sunday night. These are not surprises. They are certainties wearing the mask of surprise. Most folks meet the storm with a credit card, and then the storm never really ends, because now they owe. You will meet the storm with the storm jar. A few dollars go in every month before any fun. $5, $10, $20. Whatever you can spare. You are not saving for a dream. You are building a wall. The day that jar holds $500, you have quietly fired the bank from your life. The emergency comes, and it will come, and you pay it in cash, and you feel nothing but calm. The third jar is the seed jar. This is the slow jar, the patient one. Into this jar goes a little money every month for the big things that are still far off. The new stove, the work boots that last 10 years, the trip to see your daughter, the thing the world tells you to borrow for. You will not borrow for it. You will plant a few dollars in the seed jar and let it grow, quiet and slow, until the day you walk in and pay for the whole thing in cash. A man who saves $40 a month buys a $500 stove in just over a year. He pays nothing for the wait. The man who borrows for that same stove pays $60, $80, $100 extra in interest and calls it normal. The only difference between those two men is one jar and a little patience. Now hear the order, because the order is everything. Living jar first, storm jar second, seed jar third. Needs, then the wall, then the future. You never feed the seed jar before the storm jar is built, and you never touch the storm jar for a want. Each jar in its turn, each dollar in its home. Let me show you 1 month. The money comes in. You sit at the table. $1,300 into the living jar and not a dollar past it. $20 into the storm jar. $15 into the seed jar. What is left over is yours, free and clear. It will not touch the rent because the rent already stands in its own jar. No guilt, no guessing. You spend the rest on your life, and you sleep fine, because the money that matters is already where it belongs. That is the whole of it on a plain Tuesday. Here is why this works, and it is not what the experts tell you. They will say to keep all your money in one account and let a screen do the sorting. But a screen does not sort. A screen blends. When every dollar sits in one glowing pile, the rent money and the fun money look exactly the same. So you spend the rent money on a Tuesday and feel nothing because nothing told you to stop. The jars tell you to stop. When the fun is gone, that jar is empty, and an empty jar does not lie. You look at it and you know the truth, and the truth is the cheapest teacher there is. And let me kill one myth right here, because it keeps good people poor. They tell you that no one can live on cash anymore. They tell you that cash is old, foolish, even dangerous. That is a story the tower taught you so well that you believe you thought of it yourself. Your great-grandmother fed 6 children out of jars on a shelf. She never paid a fee. She never lost a dollar to a screen that went dark. Cash is not foolish. Cash is the only money that tells you the honest truth about how much you have left. A jar cannot be hacked. A jar charges no fee. A jar never once whispers that you have more than you do. Now, here is how you make this work for your whole life. So the jars never run dry, and you never need a bank again. The first rule is the filling rule, and it is the heart of the whole thing. You fill the jars before you feel the want, not after. The day your money comes in is the day you sort it. Living jar to the line. Storm jar gets its few dollars. Seed jar gets its few. You do this at the kitchen table, by hand, while the money is fresh and your head is clear. Most folks do it backward. They spend first, all week, on whatever calls to them, and then they look at what is left and try to save the crumbs. There are never any crumbs. The man who sorts first always has money for the storm. The man who sorts last never does. Same income, same town. One sorts first. That is the whole difference, and it is worth thousands of dollars a year. The second rule is the waiting rule, and it is the cheapest rule you will ever follow. When you want a thing that is not food and not rent, you do not buy it that day. You write it down, and you wait. A small want, 3 days. A big want, 30 days. Most wants do not live through the wait. The fever breaks. You walk back into that store a month later and wonder what on earth the fuss was about. The $40 thing you were ready to grab, the thing that would have emptied the seed jar for nothing, you find you do not even want it. Waste is almost never about need. It is about the speed of wanting. So you slow the wanting down. The store makes its money in the heat of the moment, in the bright lights and the easy yes. You take the heat away, and the easy yes becomes a quiet no. And here is the quiet part. The waiting rule costs you nothing. It asks for no extra dollar and no extra hour. It asks only that you let a day or two pass before you reach. Most of what we buy in a hurry, we would never once buy slow. The third rule is the no borrow rule, and it is the wall that holds all of it up. The cards have to go, not frozen in ice, not hidden in a drawer. Gone. A card in your wallet is an open door, and an open door gets walked through on your worst night when you are tired and the deal looks good. People say you cannot live without one. That is the same old story. A card whispers that you have more than you do, and that whisper costs the average family near $1,000 a year in interest alone. $1,000 for a whisper. Cut the cards. Some jars, and the whisper stops, and the 3 jars become the only money you will ever need. The fourth rule turns the screws faster. You find one small stream of money, and you point it straight at the jars. Not a second job that breaks your health and steals your evenings. Something plain. You sell what you have not touched in a year. You do the thing your neighbor cannot do, and you let him pay you for it. The $15, the $30, the $100, and not 1 cent of it touches your normal life. It does not buy a treat. It is not a reward for working hard. It goes into the jars. It builds the wall faster. It seeds the future sooner. A man who feeds an extra $100 a month into his jars builds a full storm jar in 5 months instead of 2 years. He bought back 1.5 years of fear for the price of a few Saturdays. And notice what he did not do. He did not borrow. He did not beg. He took not $1 from a stranger in a glass tower. He found money already near his own hands and put it to work for his own people. That is the spirit of it. Now put it together and see what you have built. The filling rule means the jars are always fed before the want. The waiting rule means the want cools before it can empty a jar. The no borrow rule means no stranger can ever pour into your jars but you. And the extra stream means every jar fills faster than it did the month before. That is not a budget. A budget is a list of no's that you break by March. This is a system. A budget tells you no. A system makes the no unnecessary because the money is already in its jar before you ever feel the want. And the quiet wonder of it is this: not one of these rules takes a degree. Not one of them takes $1 you do not already hold in your hand. They take attention. They take a willingness to sit at your own table and sort your own money with your own 2 hands before the world gets to it. The bank is betting you will never sit down and do it. 3 jars. Prove the bank wrong. Let me tell you where these 3 jars came from, because I did not invent them. My mother did, on a kitchen table when I was a boy. We did not have much. My father worked with his hands, and the money came in slow. But I never once saw my mother afraid of a bill. I asked her about it when I was old enough to wonder. She did not answer with words. She walked me to the windowsill, and she pointed at her 3 jars. "This one keeps us fed," she said. "This one meets the storm, and this one," she said, and here she smiled, "this one is for the things we are not in a hurry to need." 3 jars. That was the whole of her wisdom, and it carried a family of 8 through 40 hard years without a single loan. I asked her once why she would not just put the money in the bank, the way the town folks did. It would be safer, I told her. It might even earn a little. She looked at me a good long while, and she said, "When my money is in a jar on my shelf, it works for me. When my money is in their building, I work for them. I would rather see it every morning than wonder about it every night." I can still see her on a Sunday evening, sorting the week's money by lamplight. A small stack for the living jar. A few coins for the storm jar. Whatever was left into the seed jar. She never skipped it. It was as steady as a prayer. And that small Sunday habit did what no bank ever did. It kept us free. I did not understand her then. I was young and the world was loud and everyone around me was chasing more money, more credit, more things they could not afford. It took me many years and more than one funeral to understand what she meant. Money in a jar is money you command. Money in their hands is money that commands you. The moment your money lives in their building, you start to live by their hours. You wait on their fees. You bend to their rules. You ask them for permission to touch the thing you earned with your own back. They smile, they call it a service, and they charge you for the smile. The world will tell you this is just how it is done now, that everyone keeps their money in the system. Everyone pays the fees. Everyone trusts the screen. And that is true. That is exactly the point. They have made dependence feel like convenience, wrapping the leash in soft cloth so you forget it is a leash at all. You think it is the weight of being a grown person. It is not. It is the weight of a hand you cannot see. But there is an older way, and it still works. It is the plain way. 3 jars on a windowsill, money you can hold, a family that owes nothing and asks no one for permission. When your money lives in your own home, every dollar is yours the moment you earn it. You can take the lean week without fear. You can turn down the work that is beneath you. You can sit at your own table at night and know that no stranger holds the key to your own front door. That is not wealth. Plenty of poor people have it, and plenty of rich people never will. That is freedom. My mother died with worn hands, a paid-off home, and 3 empty jars washed and set back on the windowsill for whoever came next. She never earned much in her life, but she kept nearly all of it because she never once let a stranger hold her money for her. The jars were never really about money. They were about a morning that belonged to her and to no one else. That is the real choice in front of you tonight. It was never rich or poor. It is free or owned. So let me ask you plainly the way I would if you sat across this table from me. Do you keep your money in jars or in their building? Be honest. And if it is all in the bank, what is the one fee that made you angriest? The one that felt like a charge just to touch at your own money? Put it in the comments below. And tell me this too. If you started 3 jars this week, which one would be hardest to fill? The living jar, the storm jar, or the seed jar? I read every one of these. The stories you send back are the reason I keep recording. Next time, I am going to show you something that sounds impossible until you watch it work. How a plain family buys a farmhouse, the land, the barn, the house, all of it, and never signs a single mortgage. No bank, no 30 years of payments, no stranger holding the deed. There is a jar for that too, though it does not sit on the windowsill. And there is one number set aside quietly every single year that does almost all of the work by the time the family is ready to buy. It is far smaller than you would ever guess. I will show you the number and how the patient years do the rest. Until then, stay steady, stay free. And remember, the people who built this country with their hands knew how to keep what they earned. We are only just beginning to remember.